Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Lazy Entrepreneur. We're your hosts, Sam and Emma Priestley.
Hello.
Today we're talking to you from, we're still in Bangkok, as we have been for the last couple of episodes. But we're off today, aren't we? Tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to Singapore, which should be fun. So if you have any suggestions of what to do there, please email us at hello@sampriestley.com. And then I thought we're going to Bali, so if you happen to be in Bali, if you're a digital nomad, then we'd love to meet up. Alright, on to this episode. So Emma, it wasn't that long ago that you met up with a friend who happened to also listen to the podcast, a bit randomly, which I was very chuffed about. It's quite nice, isn't it, when someone out of the blue says, I listened to that podcast. But what I was a little less chuffed about was her criticism, was her feedback of the podcast. Do you remember what this was?
Yes.
Vaguely. She based something along the lines of, well, it's all well and good for him. He's never had to work. I couldn't do that. I have a job. I have a mortgage, etc., etc.
Yeah, she was talking about the financial burden of the life that she lives, or we all live, that you can't afford to quit your job and then start something, a business you actually want to do.
Yeah, and why is that? So it kind of got me thinking, what is it about my story? Basically, she was saying it was easier for me than it would be for her.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why? So for those who don't know, I started doing my own businesses when I was at university. And then when I graduated, I went off and did a master's so that I would be able to work while doing the master's and not actually spend too much time on it, but also have something to put on my CV. Because I had this fear that no job would respect the idea of starting your own business, and that I'd have a year or two gap in my CV if it all failed that I wouldn't be able to explain. Makes no sense at all. Because
I've never actually heard you say that.
Have you not?
No.
No, that's why I did it, yeah.
Wow.
I thought I need a CV filler in case all this fails and I actually have to go into the real world.
And get a job.
Because you're kind of taught that to get a job you need to have a degree, and that's the most important thing, and that this traditional route is what will make you most employable.
Yeah.
What I don't tell you is that everybody else has taken that traditional route. And that
So
actually
it's
to make
so
yourself employable is if you've done something similar, but then also done some interesting stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I think my CV probably would have looked better if I hadn't done the masters, but started a business instead.
Yeah,
Whereas doing both sounds a bit ridiculous.
But you didn't have the confidence to do that because that's not how you were told to live your life.
No, that's not the common wisdom. That's not the advice you get from the careers advisor. But so I was a student at the time, which meant I had no money.
But you also had very low living costs.
But I had very low. I was living as a student. All my peers were students. So for me to start a business, it was not like I was giving up an income. I was just able to kind of carry on living the same lifestyle I was.
Yeah.
And the amount of money I had to earn to equal the life that I had before was really, really low.
Yes.
Kind of anything was better than nothing.
Yeah. It was a really low entry.
It was really low entry.
But also massive opportunity that you could actually earn quite a lot of money relative to what you were used to earning.
Yeah, and I could escape that horrible idea of having to get a job at the end. Well, so it just kind of got me thinking that I think there's sort of three areas where it was easier for me back then than it would be for your friend or someone else who wants to start at a slightly older age. And I was thinking each of these is just going to get harder and harder the older you get and the longer you wait.
Yeah.
It's never going to be easier in the future. And you do hear people saying, I'm just going to wait until I get a promotion at work before doing my own thing. Or I'm just going to work really hard for this. Or I'm just going to wait till the kids go off to university. Then I'll have loads of free time and I'll be able to work on this. Or I'm just going to wait until I've finished this project I'm working on or whatever it is. And the idea that it's going to get easier in the future and that the things holding you back now are going to disappear or lessen. And actually, I think the opposite is true. That earning more, having a better life just makes it harder. And as you get older, you just get more and more responsibilities as you go, and more problems with yourself as well, like health-wise and things like that. So what I want to do is talk about the sort of three areas. So I've got, income, expenses and responsibility, which I think are those three areas.
Mm-hmm.
And then talk about how we can flip that around and say that actually the stuff which you think is holding you back, Like, how ridiculous is it that earning a high income makes it harder for you to go and do something you want?
Yes.
Like, that's absolutely nonsense.
Yes, but that is true.
But it's true. And so I'm going to talk about how we can flip that around a little bit. And I thought it'd be quite interesting to talk about you, because this was the sort of situation you were in, where you had a very high income job compared to your peers, which you then gave up.
Yeah.
And you had very high expenses, which you then had to give up, and all that kind of thing. So I thought it would be quite an interesting little chat. Maybe it'll be helpful for your friend or for anyone else listening who's thinking, well, it was so much easier for him, or there's going to be a better time in the future.
Well,
the best time is now. It's only going to get harder. But if it feels hard, there's probably ways you can make it easier. And there's probably advantages to the stuff you have.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is about mindset. And I think a lot of people relate to this.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so let's talk about income then to start. There's this weird thing that the more you make, the harder it is to go and do your own thing. Which is counterintuitive, because you'd think that earning a lot of money meant you could save a lot, which meant you'd have a big cushion.
Yes.
For trying something new. But that's not really how it works, because we want to be improving the whole time. So it's very hard to give up a high income and downgrade to a lower income. And to replace the income you have, let's say you're a 35-year-old working in the city at the peak of your career, to replace that income, starting something from scratch, yeah, of course it's possible, but it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Whereas to replace your grad salary, your starter job just after you've left university or just after you left school, is much, much easier.
Yeah.
And it's not just about that, it's also about the social pressure of giving up something that's so good.
Yeah, both from work and from your friends and family.
Yeah, like nobody is going to say, yeah, well done quitting your really high paying job and going to become a violin teacher or whatever it is that you really want to do. It doesn't happen. I've told you this story before, and I might have said it on the podcast, but my old business partner used to work as a broker in the city. And when he first started, in the first few months, they used to send around for chain emails of stuff they found funny. And, they're all quite like laddie. And
that sounds horrendous.
So, yeah, all the sort of stuff you absolutely hate.
Yeah.
And one of the things they were sending around to laugh at was this guy who worked at a hedge fund who'd send an email to all of the brokers he worked with saying, oh, I'm quitting my job, I'm going off to do something I'm really interested in, I'm going off to start a bookshop, an online bookshop. And I'm talking, what an idiot, why did he do that? Well, yeah, I'm sure you know where it's going. That was Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, now the richest person in the world. But at the time when he quit, all his kind of friends in his work were taking the piss out of him for it.
Yeah, of course. Well, it sounds silly, doesn't it?
It sounds silly. And yeah, you're not going to make the next Amazon. Maybe you will, but you probably won't. But that idea that doing something different, he was doing very well. He was for his age, he was very highly achieving in the sort of hedge fund world. And so the idea of giving that up is just nonsense.
But it just goes back to that successes, like that successes episode that we did, and people value money as a success more than most other things. Whereas when you're quitting your job to start something you actually want to do, your successes are measured in a completely different way.
Yeah, definitely. Because for you, success might be being able to go and practice yoga all day or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever it is that interests you. And one way to get there is to earn loads of money, save most of it, quit, and then you have this big buffer that you can just do all this awesome thing that you define as successful. But whereas society or your peers will probably say, oh, you're giving up at such a bright career, you're going to become a loser, a failure, which is quite hard to get over.
Yeah, which is what a lot of people said to me when I left PwC.
Yeah. So this is what you did, is you quit your salary and you went and started something from scratch. Something which you knew would be very difficult to replace that salary.
Yes.
You became a freelance marketer.
With no clients.
And yes, you might have been, basically you were aiming to replace the salary or most of that salary with what you were doing. But where you weren't going to replace was probably in the career progression. As a freelance marketer, you probably weren't ever going to earn that much more.
No.
Whereas if you stuck around at PwC for another 20 years, you probably would have gone a few ranks up.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. which is a hard choice to make. But I think it was the right one.
Yes, me too.
I think you're okay with the social pressure, kind of because you knew me, we were dating.
Yeah, and also you were an example of how it could work.
Yes.
I think when you're doing it on your own and you have no one in your life that's supporting you and encouraging you and someone to talk to, and also to go through the detail of it, like how to do a tax return and how to structure the pricing of my service, like all that kind of stuff. I had you to help me, whereas a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, if everybody is telling you it's a bad idea, it's hard to go against that.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, you had me who was potting around all day, having fun. You had my friends who were doing the same thing on one side, and then at work you had all these people who've been in the career for many, many years and who you didn't really want to emulate that lifestyle. You kind of had two choices and you chose the one which you thought you prefer. But one thing you found quite difficult was you couldn't really afford to give up that income.
No.
Based on where you were living. You were, when you decided to leave, which was about 6 months before you actually did, you were living out of your overdraft every month.
Yep.
When payday came, you'd overspent.
Yeah.
And so your expenses, even though you're earning a decent amount of money, were exactly on what you were doing. And so the difficulty then is that for you to downgrade your income, you then end up not being able to support the life that you were currently living.
Yeah, so therefore we changed lifestyle.
Well, exactly. That's what we did we did a few things, but one thing we did is just quit that life altogether and moved to the other side of the world and completely changed life altogether, because if you think the social pressure of taking a lower income is hard.
Yeah.
The social pressure of downgrading your lifestyle,
downgrading
your house, downgrading the restaurants you eat out is pretty much impossible. Like, people do it, and when you hear about people making drastic lifestyle changes and budgeting, so much respect to them, because it's really difficult. Even doing something like downgrading your car and knowing that the neighbours are watching is so difficult. And we tried to do a budget for you to try and save money.
And I did. And I got out of my overdraft. But...
Well, yeah, you didn't manage to cut your expenses. What you managed to do was get a pay rise at work.
Yes.
And what you managed to do...
And not spend any more.
That was it, which is hard in itself, is you managed to not then increase your expenditure.
Yeah.
And so you had, I think, maybe 4 or 5 months of the higher salary where everything extra you were just able to save.
Yeah.
Whereas up until then, every time you got the pay rise, your spending would then increase at that level.
Yeah, and it was all about the being able to save so that I could have some money when we first went travelling and packed up our life, so that I could invest time in the marketing business and get clients and get money. So I could kind of live off the savings. So there was like a clear plan, but it was also quite short term. It was about 6 months.
Yeah, so you had a short goal you're working towards, and then we were making this huge life change where your expenses would never be the same again, basically. Whereas if you had stayed in London, planned to quit your job, planned to start something new from scratch, you probably would have had to make some more drastic changes to your lifestyle, which would have been hard.
Yeah.
But this is why a lot of people recommend moving house. It's very hard to stay with the same peer group or neighbour group who've got used to you in a certain life, whereas moving can work out well. And that can be moving from a high cost of living area like London to somewhere much cheaper, Cardiff, Manchester, or somewhere completely different. Like we're in Bangkok, the cost of living here is dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle's pretty good. Or it could just mean downgrading to a different neighbourhood in the same place. That was one of the arguments we heard at the beginning, wasn't it? Is I have a mortgage to pay. But most people with a mortgage could probably downgrade their house, move to somewhere a bit smaller. They lose a lot of the burden from the mortgage, and they'll probably also have a decent amount of money left over. So their net worth is going up, their expenses are going down, and they now have a bunch of cash they can use for other things.
Yeah, but it's so much easier said than done.
So much easier said than done. We've actually got a couple of friends who are slowly making this kind of transition. They're a couple. One of them has recently quit his job and started doing something he's much more interested in.
Which we're so happy about.
And Like he says he like wakes up excited every day.
Yeah.
He's loving it. He sees so much opportunity. He's saying that before he used to lay up at night not wanting to go to sleep because then he'd have to wake up and go to work in the morning, which then made him extra tired and miserable and everything. And she is a hugely successful in what she does, a high paying job. And she's kind of like looking at, you know, the next potential steps there and deciding that's probably not for her.
Yeah.
And they're talking about downgrading their house. They're only 30, but they're already talking about moving from a 3-bedroom house to a 1 or 2 bedroom house.
Yeah.
Because they've worked out how many rooms in that house they actually use and how much they can save by going somewhere else and how much extra free time that would free up. And if they ever have kids, how much more time they can spend with their kids if they have that free time. Which honestly brings us on to the next point I was going to talk about, which is responsibility.
Mm.
And it's funny because all of these things that people say use as an excuse that they've got to keep in the rat race, there is this absolute flip side. So that a lot of people say, I've got kids, I can't quit everything. It wouldn't be fair on them if I downgraded my income. I want them to have the best life possible. I'm willing to make sacrifices for what I want for them. Whereas they're thinking the exact same thing, but come to the opposite conclusion, which is I want to see my kids. I don't want to pay the huge cost of childcare.
Yeah.
I want to actually have time to raise them myself. And that's one of the things we think about, isn't it? That I would love to be a stay-at-home dad. And one of the ways to be a stay-at-home dad is internet business.
Yeah.
Working for yourself. Doing all this kind of stuff.
And working at strange times of the day and it not really being a routine. You can work as and when.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very
having
flexible.
The freedom of your time to work when you want. It's the same. One of the other responsibilities is elder care with ill family, ill relatives. Again, elder care is really expensive.
Yeah.
If you have control of your time, if you have your free time, if you're doing your own thing, you cut out that expense and you can help look after them, spend more time with them, spend more time with the ones you love. So responsibility is this double-edged sword, I think. And yeah, your responsibilities are only going to get more and more as you get older. And yet that's not going to change, really, is it? It's going to get harder. You're going to have more responsibilities. And yes, you probably will need a higher income in order to sustain that. Having a household with kids in it is more expensive than having a household with no kids in it.
Yeah.
Which is why I say it's never going to be a better time than now. So start now. But if you haven't started and you have kids, like look at the other side of the coin. That yeah, you'll be saving on childcare. You'll have more time to spend with your kids. You'll have more flexible hours. So none of these things I think should really put you off starting. If you feel like you can't give up your income, maybe the reason is social pressure. In which case, maybe get out of that social group. Maybe the issue is expenses. In which case, maybe downgrade your lifestyle if you can do that, or move to somewhere where you can have the same or better lifestyle but at a much cheaper cost. I mean, we didn't even get into this like hedonistic treadmill that you don't actually get any happier the more you have.
Yeah. That's what I mean about the mindset. You've got to spend more to be more happy.
Yeah. Yeah, having a bigger house doesn't make you happier. It just gives you more responsibilities. So we have kind of done this ourselves just in the last few weeks, where we had a 4-bedroom house with a nice car, a convertible, loads of furniture, and we got rid of it all and went down to just a carry-on suitcase, and the weight of responsibility lifted from owning all this junk to owning hardly anything.
Well, also the upkeep of the house and like there's just so much. Yeah.
How much time do you spend cleaning that place? The bills, the worry of the car getting damaged or scratched.
Well, that was you more than me.
Well, you were the one scratching it. I was the one worrying. Yeah, well, we don't have any of that anymore. And as we're recording this, we're on the 25th floor with an amazing view out over the cityscape. It's pretty awesome. And if something gets damaged, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Anyway, that's kind of off the point, but what I'm saying is, yeah, if your expenses are too much, consider cutting them, and that could either be done by budgeting better and downgrading your lifestyle, or by moving and just changing your lifestyle to something more affordable. And responsibilities, yes, responsibilities are going to get worse and worse as time goes on, but there's always a flip side. There's always, by giving up their income, you're actually freeing up time, and freeing up time allows you to be better at your responsibilities. Anything else to add?
Don't think so. It sounds good. Take the jump.
Take the jump. Yeah, it's never going to get any easier. It's just going to get harder. But actually, the flip side of having a huge income that you can't give up is that you have a huge income.
Yeah.
So take that, save a bit of money. That will then give you all that freedom of time to do all that stuff which you want to do. All right. Adios.
Adios.
Thanks for listening. And if you have any feedback, email us at hello@soundpriesthood.com. We always appreciate good reviews. So if you want to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or whatever you're listening at, that'd be great. Goodbye.